and then whatever after that.
Sexually active, I said. Right to be sexually active. Do I or don't I?
Can you see that every time I ask a question like that, I'm hiding an emotion? So, like...
I'm so afraid of your answer.
Well, we'll worry about my answer in a minute. We'll talk about this issue of right first. Whenever I ask the question, do I have a right to, and then go beyond that, we're actually denying an emotion right at that point inside of ourselves. So let's look at the emotion inside of yourself, Jen. You don't believe you have the right. Otherwise you wouldn't be asking the question, right? Or do you believe you have the right? Which is it? Ask a question.
I don't know the answer, but my law of attraction brings me the opposite to what I think I want.
Yeah, hang on a sec. I asked you a question. What do you feel is the answer to your own question? Because you already have a very firm belief about the answer.
I'm so scared.
You need to say what you feel. What do you feel?
I think I have a right to be
Okay, now we're talking. I'm getting some truth from Jen now. That's really good. Jen believes she has the right to have sex. Who else feels that? Do you all feel you have the right to have sex? Well, that's true. You have the right to have sex with yourself.
You mean masturbate?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, I asked that question because I want to understand exactly what you mean. You need to be
I'm being a bit
black and white, please.
Can I talk about rights for a second?
I was going to talk about sex for a second. You talk about rights and then I'll talk about sex. Go on.
The concept of rights for me, and I was really into human rights, child rights, I was studying all this stuff. The concept of rights is very natural love. I've got the right to this. Why do we even say that? Why do we say, I've got the right to something? Because we don't have it. Because we want it. Because we want to force having it. And if you're on the divine love path, you just work with where you're at. Well, I'm not getting it. I mustn't want it. If we go into the I've got the right to this, then we're trying to impact on someone else's free will. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, and the truth is, Jen,
but what happens if you're in the bed in the middle of it and you're all turned on? I mean, I want to be graphic here. I'm sorry, everybody, but
you're all turned on in the middle of
right in the middle of it, and then suddenly there's just nothing
coming from your partner.
No, inside of me too.
Right. So you stop.
But you're still physically turned on. You're emotionally shut off.
So you start again.
But what happens if he doesn't?
What happens if he doesn't?
Yeah.
You can't control
it takes two, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, you then start on yourself.
Do you do a workshop on this topic?
Yeah, well, the truth is we will be talking a lot about these kind of topics, but we won't be doing a graphic example.
That's boring.
Myself and Mary are very private about those things. But the key thing to understand from principles...
What does divine love do in that instant?
Jen, sorry. Go
for it.
Can you answer that question?
You know.
My sister, because you have been coming for so long, you know the answer. If you think about the principles of divine love, what are they? Free will, desire, love of self, love of your partner. If you're having sex with your partner and suddenly one of you loses the desire, what is the answer?
You just stop.
Yep.
Right.
And feel the emotion that it triggers.
Yep. And if you still want to have sex, then you can do it with yourself.
But what do you do if you're in a loving relationship and not getting fulfilled? And it comes to the point where you know you need to break up. Like...
When you say you're not getting fulfilled?
Touched.
See, that's different than what you said. Can you see many of the
What does
questions you're
divine
asking?
love do? Do you still have
Can I just stop you
patience?
for a moment? Many of the questions you are asking, Jen, are loaded because they're not what you feel. You need to start saying what you feel, right? What do you feel? What's the feeling you have? You feel that when you're not touched, you're not loved.
Yes.
That's what you need to express as your feeling. Can you see that?
But the confusion is because of the injuries in the past. I'm not sure whether that feeling that I'm feeling is true or not.
But it's true because you have it inside. Right now it's your personal truth. So just feel about it and allow it to leave you and allow God's truth about the issue to enter you.
Because at the moment you're not allowing God's truth to enter. Because you're so addicted to having your own, you're denying your own emotion even about it. You're loading every question you ask at the moment with, tell me, this is really emotion coming from you. Tell me what God feels about this situation so that I can tell my husband or my partner what he should be doing. That's really what you're saying right at the moment. And you don't recognise that yet. But
I don't want to tell Graham what to do.
Yeah, you do. Because, yeah, you do. I'm saying you do. You do want to tell Graham what to do. Because you don't feel loved when he does what he's already doing. Do you follow me? And instead of just feeling unloved, you want to have Graham make you feel loved. And so you want Graham to touch you more. Does that make sense? You want him to touch you, and just that projection at him, you touch me, is an unloving projection because it's not honouring his desire. The only time he should ever touch you is when he desires to touch you and knows you desire to be touched.
But if he says he doesn't desire me, what am I left with?
What you're left with is feeling the emotion of a partner who doesn't desire you. How does that feel, Jen?
Shocking.
So feel it instead of asking the question. Do you see what I'm saying? Feel that emotion. How does that feel? It's terrible. Like I've had that emotion too. I've felt that emotion. It feels terrible. So feel it. Let yourself feel it. The irony is when you feel it to its core, he may feel like touching you after that. And if he doesn't, then you can say to him, well, now my love of self is, I can feel from you, you do not want to touch me. I can feel from you. Trying to check something. Oh, relief. It is recording. It's just like, I just had this flash for some reason. There's this relief, like, what needs to happen is you need to allow yourself to feel the emotion that he doesn't want to touch you. And feel that to its core. When you feel that to its core, you can then ask him, do you want to touch me or not? Because the feeling I have is that you don't want to touch me, and because of that feeling I feel that this isn't love. That it's not love that you're feeling for me. Right? But do it after you've felt the emotion, because at the moment you're trying to make him touch you instead of feeling the emotion. Does that make sense? Yeah. You want to say?
And also try and feel your emotions, Jen, about sex, touch and love, because there's there's a lot of distortions in there for a lot of us women, and for yourself and for me. So try and be really honest with God about what you feel about sex, when you get touched, when you feel loved, and how that all fits together. Because the truth is, they're three different things. They might be an expression of each other, but there's some differences in there.
At the moment, there's still that separation between sex and love, and you feel that you can demand sex, and that means that you're being loved. And that's not the case at all. If you have to demand sex from somebody, you are not being loved anyway, right at that moment. And you just need to feel that you're not being loved and work your way through that emotion. Yeah. And that's what you feel, isn't it? Deep down, you feel this isn't love. Yeah. Now the truth is, at the moment, there's also a very heavy projection at Graham. So from the man's perspective, what he's feeling is this barrage of, you've got to touch me, you've got to touch me. I won't believe you love me until you touch me. Does that make sense? Now, what that feels like on the receiving end is like a demand. Do you follow me? It feels like a demand on the receiving end. It feels very controlling on the receiving end. And so if a man's sensitive to his own emotions, what will you feel? Hang on a sec, you're demanding that I touch you? Hang on a sec, like, I'm only going to touch you when I feel like touching you. So there's going to be an automatic resistance to even touching you because of the demand. Can you see? And this is the trouble, is oftentimes what we're doing is we're projecting huge demands at the other party instead of actually feeling our own emotions of hurt. I've done this myself with Mary. Like, I've had huge emotions of hurt with regard to, me being attractive and me being sexually attractive to Mary and all these things coming from our first century experience. And as a result of that, I've had to go through lots of emotions of feeling like Mary finds me zero attractive. How does that feel? My soulmate finds me not attractive at all. I'm not saying that's how she feels now. I'm saying that's how I felt. Does that make sense? And so I had to feel that emotion. Now, when I'm in that emotion and not feeling it, what I'm doing is I'm demanding Mary touch me. I'm demanding Mary finds me attractive. Can I do that? No, I can't really. If I want to be in harmony with divine love, it has to come from within Mary. And if I know it's not coming from within her, and I don't feel any of those emotions from her, I need to make a decision. Gets back to the same thing. Is this loving of me or not? I need to make that choice. And most of us avoid those choices, don't we? For years. Like, you think, thanks sir. If you keep your hand up, yeah, so that's it. Yeah.